And wow, Mexico, and they use water with mussel. Wow, manzanilla and pistil. What herb formula would you recommend for using in a colonic and or enema for enhancing the cleansing? Well, you could use any greens, any chlorophyll, any heel oil tea. You could use any of those things. You know, implants. My sister's used a Klima board for a lot of years and implants greens and stuff. But really, when you look at the colon, unless you're way up here in the ascending area, do you get really a lot of absorption of nutrients. Most of your absorption of nutrients have already taken place in the small bowel. You get some micro trace elements and the like, and then of course water and stuff to make your stool solid. But you know, the colon isn't the place for their best absorption. Your best absorption is in the 22-foot of small bowel. That's where you get most of your absorption. So colonics are really okay for the colon, but there's only so much you can do with it with the even implants. Really, your best bet is think lymph, which is in the wall, and that goes back to the kidneys and adrenals. And so that's the best way to think that way, and then use the herbal formulas to clean out the whole gut. Having those, like I said, capsules are excellent for GI tract work. And the GI broom, I tried to develop something that has a real strong pulling and cleansing effect on the gut and healing effect on the gut. Can't just get too radical with everything. All in its due time, you know. Oh, this is JD again. Number 3, in the sexual aspect, I think I need to be better or active or something. I have been using herbs as said, like Damiana, in the mix, and I also use it alone, but I would like something much quicker, which would a glandular be helpful? Now, I've never used a glandular for that sort of thing. They do have them. They have prostate glandulars and stuff like that, which would probably be interesting. I've never used those. I've only focused basically on the generalized endocrine glands. Generally with prostate cancers and prostatitis here, or low testosterone, definitely we get into the adrenals and we pop that up. They do have gonadal tissue, which is the sexual organs. They have the prostate, absolutely ovarian. They have them for everything. I don't think there's a chiropractor on the planet that doesn't use glandulars. That's their gig big time. But you know, a lot of naturopaths use them as well. They've just been around for a very long time, and they're just so helpful. I don't know. You know, I just don't have the same as everyone else on those sort of things. If these were animals in the wild and we were killing them off and grabbing their innards, that'd be a different subject matter altogether. And if I cannot get it shipped, could I use a piece of meat or gland for the meat store? Well, you know, I've also said that you could, be honest with you. And I've always said if you want to have some good sex, have a piece of meat before you have it. Because it's so, and I want to use the word irritant, or it's definitely astral. So it's really sexual organs, but that the animal level is a very sexual level, and if meat definitely turns on the gonads. It's also full of epinephrine, so obviously it's going to stimulate adrenals neurologically. So all of that can have an effect, although there's a price to pay for eating the dead tissue. You know, a little bit in that way, I suppose, but. Not something that I recommend. I'm just saying it. I'm not recommending it. But getting the body healthy. I remember as a fruitarian, the problem was that it was real easy to be celibate because it's just you merge in a different way, and it's you know, when you start moving your energy up to your consciousness, up to yourself. This is where your energy is, not down here in the lower chakras or the lower endocrine glands. So you tend to live life here instead of down here. And it does make a difference. It just affects you that way. So on fast and things like that, you might not have that sexual urge and things that you would have before. Just interesting that way. At least that was my experience. JD, I guess I'm reading your post backwards. I've been watching your videos for a few minutes. I have a couple of questions. Is herbs in tea powder enough than the tincture media? Yeah, I think, you know, it's funny. With the herbs, you can cook them and they still have healing properties. That's how powerful they are. So I like the teas. I like the raw. I love all levels of that. I think probably the freshest the herb is, the best it is for you. Impractical in a situation, in a clinical work, and getting people certain herbs that only have a short lifespan and blah, 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 blah. But I like teas as well, though. We've used a lot of teas on people. It's a cheaper way to go. I don't think it's as nutritive, of course, but definitely very powerful. I mean, the Supreme Being did it right when it came to botanicals, because you almost can't kill them. I mean, it's beautiful how powerful these herbs are. And I'll say that if we had non-hybrid fruits and berries, same way. We had a lot of blackberries naturally growing all over the farms, and I was always hogging down blackberries. Real felt good, too. I buy all the herbs I could, 30 plus, and are adding more and make a mixture. That's what I do, just play with the herbs, taste them, get used to the taste and the flavor of them, and you learn how to pick the stronger ones, aromatic ones. You just learn how to do all that. And you just right. Any herb school is going to tell you, taste, smell, get involved with your herbs, and I feel that's the best way. We in an intellectual society, well, let's put them through some type of machine and test them. Oh, please. Man's trying to lose his whole perception and his whole ability to communicate with life by using machines. I just am not a machine person at all. Let me see, and are adding more and make a mixture and use them. It does not taste good. I think you can get too many herbs in a mixture, although you can see that when you take our formulas, probably 6-7 herbs in each formula, and you're on 6 or 7 formulas, so you're at 40-some herbs. So, yeah. But, you know, when we do the tinctures, they're pretty merged together. But again, they're still there, so I don't know what to tell you about that. I just watch the ones that I put in there. I love herbs working together because they're synergistically involved. I think if you make different groups of teas and then do different teas maybe, but I found that when you do what's the word I want? This is Sunday, so you have to forgive me. This is like click. I got so much work to do at home. It's unbelievable. And, of course, we got class coming up here real soon, so you guys want me prepared for that one, right? But, you know, when you macerate and you put all these herbs together, I like it better that way. In most herbal formulas, the herb company takes a little bit of comfrey, a little bit of golden seal, a little bit of say, chaparral, and a little bit of pokeweed, and they put it as individualized into one. I found that is not near as powerful as when you tincture them all together. Is when you let them brew all together, basically. That's a more powerful mixture, in my opinion, than most companies that just mix them one at a time into the formula. That's how Best Herbs was doing it. And I told him, I don't want mine done that way. I want mine to be distilled all together. I have wanted to send you my iris photo so I can have a before and after picture. That'd be good, detox regeneration through the iris, but it's hard to find someone with the right camera. I know, it is hard. I'm the first agreement with that. We get them in here, but it is hard. This is Express Tax Biz. Hey, young guys, how are we doing, guys? Hi, Doc. I've been doing some research, and I have found a study on coffee enemas. Dr. Max Gerson used this clinically as part of a general detoxification. Yeah, I'm very familiar with that there, guy. First for tuberculosis, then cancer. Caffeine is postulated with travel up the hemorrhoidal to the portal vein and thence to the liver itself. Gerson noted some remarkable effects of this procedure. For instance, patients could dispense with all pain killers once on the enemas. He cured thousands of people with cancer with this long with a raw food diet and juicing. I thought I'd run by it by the masters. Thanks, guys. I'm very aware of Gerson, very aware. And even though he might be touting thousands, if you look at the ratio of their cure ratio, it's not nothing like it is at this level. I found coffee enemas to be quite opposite. Overstimulating, and those on them, overstimulated, affecting the nervous system, overstimulating liver tissue, gut tissue. Therefore, constipation settled in, became very hard to move your bowels with a nice peristaltic, rhythmatic manner. I found it was way too hard on the human body to use coffee enemas. And I look at that and I wonder, why would you... You're not trying to overstimulate the liver or anything else. Cancer has nothing to do with the liver. Cancer has everything to do with the lymph system and acids. All cancer is damaged cell by acids. And trying to move a system with caffeine like that after a while has the other effects. Remember, stimulation, innervation. They're just the flip side of the same coin, man. So I wouldn't get too carried up in that. You'd be better to implant green stuff. You know, real powerful green stuff like alfalfa juice or wheatgrass juice or something like that. But in reality, moving lymph is a kidney and adrenal issue and not a bowel issue. So I really think that even though it's going into the veins, still, that'd be a good way to feed someone that you couldn't even get a feeding tube in them. We have done rectal insertions before. And we'll talk about that a little bit in class, some of the ways you can get nutrition in someone besides by mouth. But thanks. You guys must be pretty busy right now. BTUAN1. Dr. Morse, I have questions about food allergies and intolerance, for example, peanut allergy and gluten intolerance. You know, this comes about with a lymph system in the state that people's are, and the gut, the shape people's are, and all the sulfa drugs and all that's damaged the human body from the villi to everything. So I think it's important that one just shift their consciousness to getting well. Shifting it and starting to eat the appropriate foods, as we've been discussing, the fruits, the berries, and melons to move lymph. You can have some salads and stuff. I'll talk to those little plants for you. They'll be okay. They love giving themselves. You have to look from their perspective too, and the perspective of a cow loves giving himself up. You know, I mean, what are you going to do? Sit around and eat all your life? I mean, you know, there's a lot of perspectives that's out there and a lot of different levels. You have to get to their level, the plant and the animal level, to understand that level. We can make our own hypotheses and ideas, but this is all. I've always seen the lymph with allergies and the peanuts and all this stuff. That's all the lymph system. And once you clean that lymph system out, you're not intolerant to anything. I see this all the time. The question here is, do people have strong reactions against certain food or substances in food because of genetic weaknesses or weak constitution? This could be, absolutely. If you have a good example, that's what we're seeing in the hepatic levels, which is the liver levels. You're seeing a lot of genetic weaknesses in gallbladders and in liver. So these infants are having a very hard time with these crappy high-protein, high-fat formulas, which are causing so much mucus. And then now they're trying to get, having trouble with all the mucus and congestion with the poor kidneys the way they are. They're forming tumors like nobody's business as infants. So we're seeing a lot of problems. And then the adrenals are down, so your nervous systems are down, your steroids are down, and just everybody's down. So just shifting that attention to a state of health, meaning that you're going to have to use detoxification to get there, the process of cleaning and revitalizing the human body, then all this stuff's going to go away.